Best way to start the week is with a sick war video. Let's get it going. Hey there YouTube, welcome back to the Gekko. Another day on the video for you guys. I apologize I didn't post yesterday. I'm gonna post tomorrow to make up for that one. I was a little bit under the weather. But anyway, this video is brought to you guys by Howley, a friend of ours, someone who watches these videos, who contacted me on Discord, was like, yo, this happened in Kingdom 50, check it out. I asked him if I can use the footage and he agreed, which is awesome. What we are looking at right now is OpT and their allies trying to hold the Lost Temple against EVL. It looks like a Chinese alliance, but I'm not entirely sure. What they're doing here is very interesting, and I know the footage is a little bit wonky because of the lag. I mean, look at how many troops are on the screen. But anyway, let's talk about the method that was used here to attempt to take the temple, the failure, as well as how you can do this correctly and how you can counter it if someone does that to you. Before we start though, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. If you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, turn on the bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video or stream. I've seen that a lot of you guys who are watching are not subscribed. It will be very helpful for me if you do, so take a second and hit that subscribe button. Anyway, the method that's being used here to take the temple is a method that I like to call "you shall not pass." And if you know the reference for that, leave me a comment below and let me know where that comes from. And the way it works is pretty simple. You have a destination, which can be either the Lost Temple, an Alliance Fortress, a flag, a pass, an altar, a sanctum. All these buildings that we are taking over, we can take over or destroy, they're all about troop capacity. Now what you're seeing here is the report. Oh my, look at how many tier 5s are trying to take over this temple and are not able to. The reason for that is because what OpT did is essentially set up 2 million troops in the temple and then continuously adding troops as troops die through the rally. Now, this is part of the dynamics of this game that is really, really cool. The way the buildings work is not that the buildings have HP, but rather the buildings have troops. And as long as there are troops, that's the HP, which means you can add troops later on. And as you can see, what ended up happening is that there is 1.7 million slightly wounded and then 1.6 million remaining. How is that possible if you can only fit 2 million in the fort? The way they do it is by refilling all the time, adding more and more troops. Now, this is a little problematic because as a singular individual, you cannot really have more than one set of troops. This is the all the data you guys can see going in the background of like the troops and the stats and all the extra buffs and all that. So you should pause the video if you really want to take a look at that. But the way this works is you can see right now OpT have the Lost Temple and they are sending these troops in, the blue troops, to the temple. The red troops' job essentially is to not let them in. That's why it's called "you shall not pass." The way this strategy should work is that you have your rally that's marching towards the target, and then you have multiple other troops marches all around the target, barricading it, not letting anyone in. So right now what you're seeing on the screen is a rally hitting the temple while they have all these different troops outside of the temple area, kind of like a little bit farther out, gate holding essentially, not letting people in to reinforce this Lost Temple. And the problem here is that when you have troops either in the temple or in the rally, you cannot send more troops, which means people need to constantly, ooh, that word almost dawned on me, constantly joining more and more, which means if 10 people fill the rally, other people other than those 10 people have to keep adding troops in. And the same goes for the Lost Temple, except that from the Lost Temple you can actually pull your old troops out and put new troops in. So that's a small thought. You guys can see on the top left a ton of blue marches coming ahead into the temple, and if you guys see, there's only like 2, maybe 3 sets of troops up there trying to stop them. So while they might be able to stop 1 or 2 of those troops, and we have a little Snapchat notification here because, you know, it is what it is, you can see that they're barely able to hold the first march that is walking in. and there is 1, 2, 3, 4 marches and 2 more behind them, really trying to make their way into the temple. And what ends up happening is some of them do get in, the HP goes up, and therefore the rally fails. So if you guys want to try to do this, all you got to do is have a rally, fighting the target, and have as many possible troops around it to not let anyone reinforce the target. It is easier with the temple because there are only 4 avenues that are very, very narrow that you can actually choke on them people. But it looks like EVL were not really prepared for this. So the way you do this strategy is, again, by having your rally hitting the target while having smaller armies around it, joining the rally as you need. Look at that, there's 1 million tier 5s in this rally, and they still can't take the damn temple. The reason for that is because troops keep coming in, and eventually 5-6 million troops will kill 1 million tier 5s. I mean, if the troops just keep coming and coming, there's nothing these guys can do. So they haven't done a great job gatekeeping, and as a matter of fact, Howley's alliance, OpT, did exactly what you need to do to counter this strategy. The way the strategy works to counter it is by simply sending a massive amount of troops. It means that 2-3 people need to send 2-3 different marches, and perhaps even more than that, just to swarm in. If they cannot match you, if they will definitely not be able to stop you if there's like you saw, there were like 7 or 8 marches coming in, and these guys just couldn't handle it. They could not stop it. You guys can see on the top right, coming in, another set of troops in blue, which is about to go into the temple, and you'll see the temple's HP just going straight up, and more troops just coming in, over and over and over. And eventually, what you guys see in this video is 3 failed attempts by EVL to take the lost temple. You guys can see people keep joining this temple. The blue armies, which are OpTs and their allies armies, are just keep coming in. And look, it's practically full. Yes, they're demolishing them with the tier 5s. You can see the numbers of troops going down so fast. But look at how many blue troops are around the damn temple. It's just a matter of join, and the HP goes back up. So, I mean, they tried really hard to gatekeep, to do the you shall not pass strategy, but it failed. The way it failed, and the reason it failed, is because OpT were smart enough to know that if they swarm, and if they really just go all in, all of them together, some of them will lose troops on the way. Maybe 1 or 2 marches will be destroyed on the way. You can see one march that was destroyed and started walking back on the top left of the screen. But other than that, all the others got in. So the HP just keeps going down and up on the temple, but the rally itself keeps losing more and more troops. What you could do as the attacker to attempt to counter the counter is to also have troops near the rally ready to join the rally consistently. But what will end up happening is a power of will war, essentially, which means who is willing to stand there for the longest time and keep adding more and more troops. Pretty much this war was sick. I think it's really cool to see how people play the game differently and how people implement certain strategies. You can see that in this attempt, EVL have a lot more troops on the top left because they understood that that's their weak spot. And you saw, if you look at the Lost Temple, one of the sets of troops came out right now and is attacking really close to the Lost Temple because they knew that they can get out of there for a little bit, let another set of their own troops back in, and pretty much re-up the temple. So the funny thing is, the temple is at about half HP right now, but in a moment, another set of troops is going to come in and it'll go right back up. So the you shall not pass strategy, the gatekeeping strategy, whatever you want to call it, is very popular for taking forts, for taking bases, for taking all these different, anything that you're trying to take over, essentially you can do doing this. As you guys can see on the top right, there is 2 marches by EVL right next to a march by OpT, and they don't even care. They haven't even noticed it. And you just saw on the screen the HP of the temple, like the amount of troops within the temple, just go up again. And these guys just keep hitting it over and over and over and just losing thousands of troops. Now, honestly, with all the amount of tier 5s that they have, I think they got a little overzealous and they thought that they can just brute force their way. But in this game, there is nothing bigger and stronger than swarming. You can have 5 players with tier 5s and 25 marches with tier 5s. All you need is 10 players who send 5 marches, and that's double the marches. And the tier 5s can do something, but it's not going to hold if you're doing something like a central fortress, an alliance fortress, a pass, and things like that. On a 1v1 on the battlefield, of course, you will most likely lose with tier 4s against tier 5s. But when it comes to holding forts and joining a rally and all these things, the more the better. So OPT managed to hold. We watched 3 attempts by EVL to take over their lost temple, and they failed. I added all the data throughout the video, so if you guys want to see the reports and all the stats of all the buffs and stuff like that, and you can definitely see that these guys were in over their heads because the guys rallying had a very nice set of buffs. But as long as they kept the swarm mentality going and stuck together, they held the damn fort, and good for them. Honestly, I think that this is great to see a really, really well organized alliance just holding against the big boys. And here the rally once again leaves, and you can see, look, there is 2.1 million slightly wounded, and there's still over 2 million troops left in the damn temple. These guys are, forget about the fact that they're losing a ton. And in this specific report, you can see that their stats in the temple were a little bit better than the rally stats. And they're losing tons of troops. You saw 300,000 dead. That's a lot, but so are EVL. And the problem is EVL are losing a lot of tier 5s as well. Is it worth it? I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. These guys did a fantastic job holding their temple. Congratulations, OPT. Congratulations to all of OPT's allies. You guys are awesome. It's good to see people are thinking and being able to take the big boys against like themselves. I don't know if OPT is a small alliance, by the way. I don't know if they have tier 5s or not. I didn't really check. And they probably, maybe they do. Maybe they're the biggest alliance and they just, keep pushing troops against EVL. I don't know. But the bottom line is, you can, as a small alliance, as an underdog alliance, defeat a bigger alliance as long as you guys work as a swarm, as a team, and that's what they did here. Awesome stuff. And that's the video. Thank you guys very much for watching the video. Thank you again, Howley, for letting me use your awesome content, your awesome footage. If any of you want to record stuff and want me to go over it and make videos about it, there's a Discord group down below. You guys are welcome to go join it. Get in touch with me from there on Discord and whatever not. If you guys are new to the channel again, please hit the subscribe button. Turn on the bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. There's also Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, everything in the description. If you guys watched all the way to here, write in the comments down below. Thank you, Howley, for being so awesome. And his channel is linked as well. Go give him a like, a follow, a subscription, whatever not. Until the next time, thank you again for all your continued support. There is another Big Boy War video coming out tomorrow, and it's not looking pretty. But yeah, if you lasted all the way to here, you'll know that it's coming. And if you didn't, you'll probably comment, oh, why didn't you talk about that? Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm the Gekko. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great week. Peace.